All right. So first, can we have everybody go to menti.com, and our our team members behind the scenes, Trina and Kurt, are actually pasting the link there. You can also turn on your phone and then turn on your phone, turn on the camera, and then point it to this QR code, or click on the link, or type in this code. And it will lead you here. So first, kamustahin muna natin yung audience natin, Joyce and Henmar. We'll ask them to identify 3 words that describe what you're feeling this week. Pero how about you, Joyce? If you had to name 1 word, what word describes what you felt this week?
I think it would be excited.
Yeah. Wow. What's been exciting you lately?
Work. No, and I'm also looking forward to this talk actually to share what I know about the space.
I love it. Thanks, Joyce. How about you, Henmar? What word describes what you're feeling?
Challenging. For me, the word is challenging. Challenging in surviving. This is the short. Surviving in the workload, balancing family work, work-life balance. It's challenging for me.
Yeah, I love that you shared that, Henmar. No? So parang mixed feelings in the room, some excited feelings from Joyce, Henmar, some challenging feelings. So for all of us, whatever you're feeling right now, know na this is a safe space for whatever it is that you're feeling. Let's create a very psychologically safe space for everyone. Now you don't have to feel a particular thing in this moment. Whatever you're feeling right now, it's valid. Life has been tough, and so let's just support each other. Here's a word cloud. Nakikita natin maraming motivated and excited, pero maraming ding stressed. Ayun din,
Stressed.
and more yung challenging word is also a
Yeah,
word
oo.
here right now. Frustrated then. So whatever, and pwedeng halo yung feelings in the same week that you felt frustrated, it could also been the same week that you felt motivated, no? So these are all accepted. Is there any word that other word
Mm.
that that jumps off from this, Henmar and Joyce? Meron pa ba kayong words that you wanna just highlight at this moment?
Actually, I would like to highlight the word, the concept of stress, the same time in the
Mm-hmm.
concept kasi, paano ba to? Stress for me kasi is, every time I talk in a discussion about stress management kasi, lagi kong sinasabi, stress is important. Hindi nyo dapat, ang perspective ko kasi, hindi dapat natin o hanapin yung stress-free workplace, no? Kasi stress is necessary to motivate, para ma-motivate ka, mag-work ka kasi this is my common question. Medyo tricky lang siya pero sino na ba ang hindi stress, 'di ba? Sino na ba kayo nang hindi nai-stress? Sino na ba ang may peace of mind, 'di ba? Sino ba yung nakahanap ng kapayapaan na tinatawag natin, no? Pero share ko lang, no, if there's a time, parang I remember kumalat sa FB yung chicken brand na parang marami nagsana all kasi yung chicken daw is napalaki sa parang napalaki siya sa stress-free environment, no? Doon siya biniread, no? Pero sabi ko, technically, yes, kasi ano ba yung purpose niya? Maging fried chicken, parang ganun in the future. Pero hindi dapat siya ini-implement sa work, hindi natin hanapin yung stress-free workplace. Kasi stress is necessary. Use stress, the positive stress, help us to develop, to motivate ourselves. Yun. Kaya for me, stress and motivation is similar for me.
I love that consolidation, Henmar. Thank you for sharing. Joyce, how about you? Anything you meron ka bang insights from this word cloud that you're seeing right now?
Yeah, I think in relation to stress, it's anxious. The feeling of anxiety. That's actually a very normal feeling nowadays, or since the pandemic started. I think it applies to all naman, right? With everything going on. Even though most people, though hindi lahat, are working from home, they can still feel the anxiety, trying to balance, as what Henmore mentioned a while ago, trying to balance work and then home life and then your other roles and responsibilities on a daily basis. So I think that's one word I can highlight, and I can see it also in the Mentimeter that a lot of people are feeling anxious right now.
Yeah. So true. Thank you for that insight, Joyce. And again, whatever you're feeling, everyone, be valid. And to get more on to our topic, to our audience, which sector do you work in? Can you share with us which sector do you work in? Are you from the government, nonprofit, or private sector? Para we get to know our audience a little bit.
Interesting numbers.
Maraming sa government for now.
Yeah, I love it, no? Baka you want to share in the chat box. Maraming taga DSWD here right now. I think baka may kakilala ka dyan, Henmar. Did you see your... I know. I sorry. We'll ask to unmute you. Yan.
I'm looking for the list.
It's a list of participants. But yeah, it looks like most of us here right now
are from the
government sector, just a few, 3 from nonprofit and 4 from private. Again, you're all very, very welcome in this session. Thank you for making it here. Right now, we know you're busy. We know there's a lot of work that you're doing right now to serve others, but we're glad you took this moment for yourself to learn about how to manage difficult people as well. And our next question is, who do you consider as a difficult person right now? Is it your family that you have at the back of your mind? Your friends, your colleagues, your boss or supervisor? I'm curious, Joyce or Henmar. I know you are the experts right now. I know so you know how to deal with people. Do you still feel na merong difficult people pa rin in your life? Like,
the big answer is yes.
I would agree.
Sino, what category, if you're okay to reveal, or what category do they usually fall under?
Actually, it's diverse. When you say diverse, my family, my friends, my colleague, and my boss. Family kasi, in our perspective, in family kasi, meron kami talagang tinatawag na word na angkan. No? Yung when say angkan, may place kami, both father and mother side, na galing kasi sila sa province before. As in talaga yung mga, I think hindi lang siya second, third, fourth, fifth, seventh degree of the relatives ay still related. Yung diversity of the family, yung orientation in terms of culture, religion, still let's find me difficult. No? Kasi some individuals are sensitive in religious perspective, some are not. Some are sensitive on kasabihan. But hello, if you have baby, di ba? Parang, bawal yung ganyan. Dapat ganito. Dapat white lang yung damit. Tapos, kailangan yung buhok, iipit mo sa ganyan. So, it's give me difficult na parang, in my perspective, parang ito lang yung regular, pero parang ang daming rules. No? So, lalo pag nag-travel ng provinces. One, sa friends, in the perspective of mental health, pero kasi talagang, in a group of your friends, meron kasi talagang, alam mo, sa circle of friend mo, merong ang bigat kasama. Pero since kaibigan mo siya, no, hindi natin siya iiwan. Pero ang bigat kasama. So we are dealing with this particular person. So colleagues, yung mga kasama natin na minsan ayaw kasi natin sila ma-offend no? Yung mga ganon. Maybe madidiscuss natin why, no? But hindi tayo nahihirapan pa tayo mag-adjust sa kanila. Technically, boss or superior, no? Kasi especially maraming concept. Una, what is your employment status? Kaya pinipilit mong i-please yung immediate superior mo or kasi baka marami talaga siyang inuutos, no? May mga ganun, pero hindi siya sa akin. Pero in my perspective, yes, boss, sometimes. Kasi minsan ang hirap umindi. That's one. Ang hirap umindi. How about you, Joyce?
Yeah, I think I'll have to agree with what you said. Defining difficult people, it actually varies from person to person naman kasi. Some people are difficult to one and to others not. It could be your coworker, your boss, your family members, or anyone that you encounter with that you find difficult to handle. Yes, as what you mentioned a while ago, maybe because you have different views and opinions with them, or maybe because you have different ways in dealing and handling certain issues with those individuals. So that's why you refer to them as a difficult person, right? So in my case, personally, yes, I have I also encounter difficult people from friends, family, co-workers. So yeah, I think they come from different, you know, places or space that we have.
Yeah, so there you have it. It's a mix. Even from our expert panel here today, they also experience difficult people in their lives. So it's not just you. It's quite a common experience now that you're seeing it here then on the screen. No, it looks like most people. Yung top answer dito right now ay boss and
Both.
supervisors, not difficult persons. So we'll get deeper into that later, and colleagues as well. And then 28 for said family, 10 people said friends. So it really looks like it's work where we encounter the difficult person right now. Thank you everyone for sharing. And itong last question natin before we now get into the meat of the discussion. How comfortable are you with managing difficult people? Can you share with us yung left, yung uncomfortable, yun yung ayaw mo talagang ginagawa ito? Or is it more comfortable to you now that it doesn't scare you anymore? Joyce, Henmar, kayo, like, was it most uncomfortable for you? At what point in your life was it most uncomfortable for you to manage difficult people?
I think for me I think it becomes really uncomfortable if the difficult person is within the family, because you deal with them on a daily basis, and then if certain issues is really, you know, personal. So and then, you know, if it's with the family, you have to manage them on a daily basis. So that's what makes it more challenging compared to having difficult people in the workplace, or having a difficult person, yung boss mo or whatnot. How
True.
about Henmar?
Yung kasama, so no avoidance. How about you, Henmar?
Siguro kung the audience are 5.6, the 10 Likert scale to, Nikki.
Yeah, 0 to 10.
Siguro nasa nasa 7 or 8. Based on my experience kasi, hindi ko kasi alam kung pasok dito yung tagasalo personality ni Dr. Karandang. Kasi when si tagasalo personality, tumutukoy ito sa a member of the family, which is parang in the terms of responsibility, laging siya yung sumasalo at the end. Ibig sabihin, kung na-encounter ng iba na parang, actually hindi lang sa family, even in the work, no, may mga tao na there is very idealistic, they give ideas, suggestions, pero at the end of the day, kapag nagkaroon ng conflict, sila yung ayaw mag-confront. Yeah. Tapos may ibang tao na hindi nila idea yon, but they are willing to mediate, they willing to resolve the issues, they can hear both sides. No, they are willing na yung nasa lower, nasa high. On my experience kasi, family, academics, in organization, lagi akong ginagamit na ng pambala. No, that's why siguro medyo comfortable na ako 7 or 8. Pero may scenario na mga extreme cases. When it's extreme cases, highly emotional, talagang ayaw mag-reach out, lalo na ngayon na medyo, kasi sa personal, pwede mo pang lambingin pwede mo pang pero ngayong social media talaga, ayun, hindi, medyo uncomfortable na siya na i-reach kasi pwede ka niya kasing i-block, lalong mapuputol yung or mabibridge yung communication, masusunog yung communication, which is hindi natin dapat i-push. So I'm still waiting for the right time para mag-heal siya at mag-ready siya to open up.
Yeah, that's true. Tulad nga ng sabi ni Jan Luis dito sa chat box, it also depends on the person that you're dealing with, yung level of comfort. True. And for me, I used to really not like being around difficult people kasi sobrang draining ako. But after learning a couple of things, I've grown to become more comfortable with it. So my hope for everyone is where at whatever point you're in, sana you get a little bit more comfortable after what Henmar and Joyce have to share today. Thank you everyone for your vulnerability and sharing how comfortable you are in dealing with difficult people. So we'll go to the first question. Why is it important to resolve conflict? Bakit hindi na lang natin pwedeng sabihin, it's really ganito talaga, we always just argue, let's just live with it. Why do we, or sometimes we just sweep it under the rug, kalimutan na lang natin na nangyari. Why, Henmar and Joyce, is it important to resolve conflict?
Um, Pwede, if okay, Joyce, mauna ako. Kasi
Oh, sure.
i-correlate ko siya
Yeah,
dun
sure.
sa question nung ng participants natin. This is JCI Daraga. Sabi niya kasi kaka-stress ang mga friends na tampuhin and yung mga sinasabi nilang mentally unstable daw sila. It's very important hindi lang dahil sa konsepto ng pagkakaibigan, pero maaaring ito ay konsepto rin sa mental health ng isang tao. Kasi if mayroong isa kasing model, yung kay McKean, na mayroong mga tao po kasi talaga na possible meron tayong diagnosis or no initial diagnosis or minor diagnosis sa issue ng mental health. Pero or hindi tayo diagnosed or normal, pero ang bigat, nahihirapan tayo mag-cope. May mga tao kasi na they can easily adjust, they can easily cope with the situation, pero may mga tao na nahihirapan sila mag-adjust. So kung nararamdaman natin or nagpapakita sila na parang we need you, kaya pag may gatherings, no, sila yung minsan nag-iiyakan kapag this is time na sila ang kumukuha ng kalakasan sa atin. So mas maganda na ibigay natin yung hinahanap nila because we are now the basic support system para maging stable yung mental health nila. No, kasi kung tayo mismo may inis o bibitawan natin sila, no, mas worse yung mangyayari sa kanila. No, this one, no. This is for the health nung kaibigan mo at the same time ikaw din. Kasi may darating sa punto yung regrets. Ba't hindi ko siya tinulungan? Ba't hindi ko siya pinakinggan? Ba't hindi ko siya kinausap? No? Yung mga ganon. It's para magpa-fire back siya sa'yo in the future. So that's for me, that's one. No? Kasi it's to give a peaceful situation in both us. Win-win kasi yon. It's very important also to resolve conflict kasi gaya ng sabi natin, boss yan eh. Hindi mo na mamili ka boss o trabaho no, yung ganung idea, no, kasi kapag hindi tayo nag-adjust sa situations, no, there will be burnout, there will be new negative stress or distress na tinatawag, there will be attention at hindi magiging gaya sabi ni Nikki kanina, hindi siya magiging psychological safety. Kahit malaki yung physical space, pero liliit yung psychological space nyo, na parang every time na papasok ka, may hiya ka ng mag-good morning. May hiya ka ng bumate. Nung dumating yung boss mo, good morning sir. Nagbumati ka, pero kung paano mo siya sinabi ay ibang bagay. So it will create more negative ambience within the organization, within the office. That's why we need to resolve conflict. How about you, Joyce? How you will give importance about resolving conflict?
Yeah, I actually agree with what you said, Henmar. It actually brings peace if you confront these difficult or relationships, and it difficult relationships kasi it causes tension in the workplace or in at home or wherever you have a difficult relationship with someone, and then it also adds more pressure when it comes to performing your roles. So if it's boss, yeah, parang may strained relationship na kayo, strained relationship as his or her subordinate, and then if you handle difficult relationships poorly, it could actually cause greater conflict later on. And then as what Nikki said a while ago, that some people, especially those people who are not comfortable with confronting it, they tend to swap it under the rug. So they try to repress the difficult relationships or the conflicts that they have. So what happens is there's actually a quote. It says, you can see it on the screen. Unexpressed emotions never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. So what will happen? Usually, for those people who are not comfortable with confronting these difficult relationships, they tend to repress these emotions. And then, if that happens, and you keep on repressing your emotions towards a certain individual, or you try to ignore certain conflicts, there will be a tendency that you will explode later on and will cause greater conflict na. So from that difficult, you will maybe lash out on them all of a sudden because it's already in bulk. Your emotions that you were not able to express currently will be in bulk later on. So parang mas magiging cause siya ng problems or conflicts if you don't face it now.
Yeah. Sila nakaranas no na sometimes we try to be the better person, and sometimes we assume na to be the better person means to say nothing. And so whenever somebody does something that we don't like, we just keep quiet and we keep quiet, and then one day bigla na lang you're so mad, and then nobody understands why, because you've been quiet all this time. I definitely feel that pag hindi ko na siya share na something is upsetting me, one day na lang biglang mapapasigaw na lang ako, or maybe you'll see me banging closet drawers or doors. So for me, that's what happens to me. Kayo ba, Henmar and Joyce, that happens na parang napupuno kayo, ganun?
Yeah.
Sige, Joy,
Before,
sige,
personally. I sorry, Henmar, for cutting you off. But yeah,
Hindi,
I
okay
actually
lang.
had a similar experience before na parang, okay, I'll just keep my mouth shut, just ignore it, and then later on parang sa maliit na bagay ka parang mag-i-explode all of a sudden. So kaya I changed my approach to this kind of circumstances na.
Yeah.
Actually, kasi yung similar with the idea of Joyce and what you experience, Nikki, ang pagkakaunawa ko kasi, emotion has the capacity to think. Kasi ano siya parang nararamdaman siya, hindi siya talaga, kumbaga, this is from the mind, from the brain itself, pero hindi talaga siya yung basa-basa. Kusa siyang nararamdaman Kaya, actually, I don't know Nikki or Joyce, or from our audience, please type yes kung may experience ito, no? I don't know kung naranasan nyo na yung concept na parang galit yung isang tao, tanong nyo ba, galit ka ba? Parang kasagot niya, no, pero nagdadabo siya, hindi ka niya binabati, unusual, no? Ayan, so in the audience, they are saying yes. Actually,
big caps pa yung yes.
Haba, yes! Exclamation. Okay, actually, totoo po na hindi sila galit. No, that is a real concept. Dito yung, galit ka ba? Hindi. No, that's why we need to sometimes in perspective psikolehiyang Pilipino, kailangan natin silang suyuin, no? Then after you realize na hindi talaga siya literal na galit, because ang tunay niyang nararamdaman ay tampo. Okay, nagtatampo kasi itong certain individual, no? Parang, hey, parang tignan mo yung attention ko, pansinin mo ako, mayroon tayong kailangan pag-usapan. Tapos kapag nasuyo mo na siya in what he or she talaga dapat, no, may kakaroon siya ng statement doon sometimes na ang parang sabihin kasi, nakakainis ka kasi ganito, ganyan. And inis is another Filipino emotions. No? Kung makita mo na, inis siya. No? Why kasi inis? No? Maaari kasi may mga maliliit na bagay na pinalalampas kasi maliit at ayaw natin palakihin, pero naiipon. Nagpa-pile up siya. That will become evolved from ines to tampo. Actually, yung tampo, kapag sinabayan mo siya, bawa sabi, wag mo muna usapin. Sinabi lang naman niya, wag mo siyang kausapin, pero hindi niya sinabi na wag mo siyang susuyuin. So, maraming bagay, no? Sabihin, pwede mo pa siyang tabihan, lutuan, offer an ice cream, offer a gift, no? Marami. Pero, totoo, wag mo muna siyang kausapin. Hayaan mo siya mag-meltdown. Kasi pag sinabayan mo siya, it will evolve to another emotion. Doon papasok yung galit. Okay, so it will evolve, no? So kaya sinasabi ni Freud na parang it will become uglier kasi nga naiipon, napapile up, parang dapat yung ines sa pag-usapan na siya, pero lumabas, nagtampo na siya kasi naipon, nagpile up siya. At darating sa punto na yung galit, minsan hindi mo siya pag-uusapan, ganyan, it will result to other more emotional, like samaan ng loob, puot. When we say puot, it is Filipino emotion na ang hirap magpatawad ng tao. Kaya pag tinanong niyo yung isang tao, kaya mo patawarin yung boss mo? Kaya mo patawarin yung girlfriend mo o boyfriend mo ng loko sa'yo? Ang sagot ng tao, hindi ko pa kaya ngayon. Baka kasi puot at hindi galit yung nararamdaman niya. The worst case scenario, if we are using word suklam, sinusumpa at kinukulam. Suklam is combination of sumpa at kulam kasi. Na parang, sana may mangyari sa'yo, sana magkasakit ka, sana mamatay ka. Sorry for the word. We are cursing individual na pag may nangyari sa kanila, karma niya kasi yun. There is something within you na parang is a revenge, no? Na parang na-affirm ka kasi karma niya yun, no? No, pero kung aabot kasi sa extreme emotions na yon because no na hindi dahil maaring hindi na-resolve yung inis o tampo. That's why very important kung naiinis ka, share it out, share the negative thoughts, ideas, pag-usapan, no, para hindi kumbaga in the other model, yung stress bucket model kasi dapat nababawas yon, mayroon tayong means how to release stress para maliris kasi yung tension or pressure para hindi na siya mag-pile up at lumaki. No, that is my perspective.
What I'm hearing from you, Henmar and Joyce, now why it's really so important to do it. Kasi there's acceptable ways to show these frustrations, these negative emotions, para let it out na in those acceptable ways, para hindi mo siya iipunin na later on it turns out into something really, really bad for you and for the other person, na you're wishing ill of another person, o kaya naman you yourself are holding such a big burden. So that's why if you can release it already, that would be great. Tulad ng sabi ni Micah here, meron siyang vent buddies. Kaya siguro pag may vent buddies na siya, hindi na naiipon ng masyado. So that's thank you so much for the insights. I think that perfectly helps us segue into our next question. What can we learn from the psychodynamic approach and Psikolohiyang Pilipino in dealing with difficult people? I understand you're going to be sharing frameworks with us. So we'll start with Joyce. Joyce, maybe you can talk to us about this slide right here.
Okay. So yeah, the approach I'm taking on this is Freud's psychoanalytic theory. So magbibigay lang ako ng just a very short explanation and background on what Freud's psychoanalytic theory is all about. So it actually focuses on the role of a person's unconscious as well as early childhood experiences on a person's personality. And in this case, I would like to highlight on the conscious. So the in the picture you can see conscious, pre-conscious, and unconscious. That's the three parts of the mind according to Freud. So in unconscious, that's we can say that it's in reality principle, or you can say that that's the space of your mind wherein yung naiisip mo right now, current thoughts that you have at the moment. And then the unconscious naman, it runs with pleasure principle. Yung needs, drives, instincts, and if you do have repressed emotions, dyan siya nagsistay. So the unconscious is not the active thoughts that you have, but rather the thoughts that you have unconsciously. So that's why it's called unconscious. So since Freud's psychoanalytic theory focuses on a person's unconscious, that's why repressed emotions really affects greatly on how you interact and how you deal with people if you have certain repressed emotions or conflicts and issues with these certain individuals. So yeah, so it is in the it was according Freud believed that the unconscious mind have a very powerful impact on personality, and it could actually or potentially lead to psychological distress if hindi mo siya maa-address yung mga things or yung mga thoughts that you have in your unconscious mind.
Yeah. And I believe this is the iceberg model, no? Na I have
Yes.
never seen an iceberg in my life, Joyce. Pero like yung whenever I see pictures of icebergs, di ba, when you see pictures of icebergs, you think it's just that it's already a massive piece of land.
Mm-hmm.
Pero you don't realize it's even much, much, much larger below the surface.
Underneath, yes.
Unconscious actually drives so much of what we do. A lot of what we do, we're not so conscious about. It's from our unconscious. And so if, di ba, yung mga rene-repress natin, if we put it down to our unconscious, it reflects in our behavior somehow. And if we want to change it, we have to make those things more conscious, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Ano yung mga...
Actually,
yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Okay. Actually, in the idea of unconscious, halimbawa needs, no, relate ko lang siya in the organization settings, no. Actually, sometimes if we are talking or sometimes if we are trying to negotiate, to our immediate supervisor or to our boss, one thing dapat maging familiar tayo sa kanila in terms kung ano yung mga unconscious. When you say unconscious, ano ba yung mga kailangan nila? Ano ba yung pleasurable sa kanila? Ano ba yung mga gusto nila? No, para ano yun parang I don't know kung na-experience ang audience natin yun. Sometimes, may mga boss kasi they decide something because unconsciously, no, meron silang some idea, sorry for the word, hidden agenda. Okay, so meron din silang unconscious na parang, kasi siguro dahil they want to protect their integrity, they will protect yung tawag dito yung tingin sa kanila ng tao, yung perspective na I'm strict, no? Kailangan yung mga unconscious na gano'n, no? Kaya kailangan firm siya in terms of decision na minsan kahit mali na, no, nandun pa rin kasi siya na kailangan ko ng panindigan yung gusto ko. Maaari kasi naging unconscious na yun eh. No, kaya iba yung pinapakita niya no nagiging conscious siya doon. So that's why ang idea dito kasi sometimes if we want to sometimes parang hindi naman suhol, no? Minsan in the right time, no, parang kasi ano to this is a relationship, no? Yung pagiging pakatao, minsan alam natin dapat kung paano natin i-express yung charm natin. May people has a charm with the other people, no? Minsan na parang may mga tao ka na siya pag ito kausap ko, pag ano siya dahil masaya, humor, maganda siya kung paano mag-express, mas madaling mag-yes. May mga tao na pag ito kausap ko parang I always say no. Parang yun. So that's why because it's very important to know yung ano yung unconscious ng isang tao tsaka ano yung conscious nila at the mind at ibabalance din natin.
Yeah. Ang dami dito yung sa chat box nagsasabi ng may vent buddy sila o sana may vent buddy si Chona, si Noemi, si Nancy, Presilin. A lot of people here are talking about like vent buddies and I think sobrang crucial ang vent buddy for helping what's in your unconscious go to your conscious. Diba? Sometimes when we go to our vent buddy, magulo yung isip natin, magulo yung emosyon natin. We don't know what we're feeling. Pero once our vent buddy starts asking us questions, pag nagtatanong sila, ano bang nangyari, doon nagiging klaro sa atin ano yung naging feelings natin when something happened. Kunwari, nasiguan ka ng boss, biglang your whole day was bad. And it's only when you start talking to your vent buddy, when you realize just how hurtful it was na may gumawa nun sa'yo, and just how how upset it makes you and how it affects your whole day. So sobrang nakakatulong talaga ang vent buddy for your unconscious to be more conscious. Kasi sila minsan yung nagtatanong ng perfect questions. Kayo ba, Henmar, Joyce, ano kayong vent buddy?
Ako madami. Actually, when you say madami kasi paano ba? May dynamic, may colleague, may katrabaho kasi no na kasi ang idea ko kasi dito, hangga't maaari, I will try to eliminate yung concerns ko na try, minsan hindi kasi talaga possible. Yung parang pero at least ma-eliminate na yung problema sana sa office, na-vent out ko lang sa office. No? Yeah. Kasi sometimes, for example, sa may mga asawa, minsan kasi hindi nila na-vent out sa office, natatransfer nila doon sa asawa nila. No? Kaya minsan yung asawa, hindi nila alam kung they just want to listen, they want to share, or give advice. No, parang nagkakaroon ng additional burden. Minsan hindi pinagtatalunan ng mag-asawa. Diba? So yung idea, that's why I create some social support na at least ma-eliminate ko, this is just only for work. So sa amin lang siya. Mayroong pang friends, pang barkada lang, at mayroong pang family lang. No? Kasi yun nga sabi nga nito ni Ninyo Joseph, no? Absorber lagi yung asawa. No? Pero, pero hindi dapat ganon. No? Sometimes not. No? Because baka dapat pag mag-asawa, pag-usapan niyo yung pamilya, anak, no, future. Pero baka kasi additional burden na yung yung work nyo, pero this give the idea na totoo yung perspective na kinokontra ko rin kasi yung perspective ng iba kasi sa ibang public school nakasanayan kasi na yung problema sa bahay hindi dadalhin daw sa school. Kaya nung naging workforce ng mga estudyante na ang problema sa bahay hindi dinadala sa trabaho. No, may ganun yung parang O may problema ka sa bahay, ba't mo kailangan ipakita rin sa office? But for me, as a mental health advocate, it's a big no, no, no. Kasi sa mga parent dito or sa may mga kapatid, given the situation, pag may sakit ba ang anak nyo, for example, papasok kayo sa opisina, kaya nyo bang tanggalin yung isa-isip nyo for 8 hours of habang nasa office kayo na may sakit sila, na hindi ka mag-aalala? No, we are still human being. We are still, kumbaga, tao tayo, that hindi natin makakat yun. We are social being, no? Kaya interrelated, no? Minsan nagaganon siya. Kaya minsan, no, nadadala natin, no? Pero at least meron tayo at or our perspective, ma-eliminate natin yung ganitong yung ma-share lang natin, no? Because still we are still in the workplace, minsan nandun talaga tayo sa bahay. Yun.
Yeah, that's true. Ikaw, Joyce, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, on the vent body naman, yes, I do have also, but I just want to highlight that before you vent out to someone also, make sure that that person is also emotionally available. Kasi we cannot dump all our emotions on that certain individual, tapos meron din pala siyang his or her own problems, right? So parang mag-a-add ka ng burden, as what Henmar mentioned a while ago, na parang nagiging shock absorber yung certain individual or yung asawa with the conflicts that you have. So before you vent out to your vent body, you also need to make sure that your vent body is emotionally available at the moment before you vent out your problems to them. Kasi mahirap naman, especially for people na meron kasing mga kind of people na parang magaan, and then you go to them directly if you have problems. And in that scenario kasi, that's me and my friends. So most of them, they go to me if they have problems, share it to me. I'm actually fine with that. But on personally, I think it would be best if you check on that individual first. If hey, I have something to tell you. I have a problem like this. Are you emotionally available, or is it okay if I can talk to you about this right now? Kasi kawawa naman kasi yung vent body mo na may problema, tapos dinagdagan mo ng issues or conflicts that you personally have, right? So I think that's actually good for both of you kasi you're also taking care of your vent body's mental health then in a way.
I love that, Joyce. Yung tip para sa vent body na ask them first kung okay lang na mag-vent sa kanila. If hindi okay, don't take it personally. I'm sure other people there who will be willing to listen to you. Pero magandang practice yun, Joyce, that you ask them first. Thanks for sharing. Si Henmar is also going to introduce another framework for us for how we can manage. This will help us manage our difficult people in our lives. Henmar, can you tell us more about this?
Thank you, Nikki. This is actually a level or mode of social interaction by Santiago and Enriquez noong 1976. So actually, this is not the real diagram or model na pinapakita na. Actually, this is my own representation of it. Kasi parang pag nakita nyo siya sa book or sa mga different references, word lang siya, no? Naka-text lang siya. Pero kasi gusto ko ipakita sa inyo na if you are the one, sarili, no? Yung sarili mo, isa sa dapat natin maunawaan para malaman natin kung nasaan yung difficult person. Kasi kung ano bang klaseng tao siya sa buhay natin. Because there is two. One is ibang tao, which we call it outsider, o ibang tao or one of us. Parang halimbawa, no, pag sinabi natin hindi ibang tao, yung parang, ano ka ba, hindi ka na iba sa akin. No? Parang mga kaklase mo, yung mga kaklase ng mga anak nyo po or ng mga kapatid po ninyo, no, parang they already feel at home. No? Yung tipong makakapasok sila kahit wala yung anak nyo, or yung tropa nyo, kahit wala pa kayo makakapasok sila because maaring hindi sila ibang tao. No, parang makakatulog na sila, ganyan, because they are one of us already. No, this one, no, this proximity of the connection with you. The other one is yung ibang tao, yung tipong talaga nag-a-adjust tayo, nakikibagay, nakikitungo. Like for example, sa halimbawa sa pakikitungo, no, is civility. No, parang I remember some individual, common tinatanong, kamusta na kayo ng ex mo? Kamusta na kayo ng ganyan? Sabi niya, ito, civil lang. No? Pero kung titignan nyo in the concept ni Santiago at ni Enriquez, Pag sinabing civil na lang sila, no, civil, mga nakikitungo na lang siya, ibig sabihin, yung dating close na tao, na from hindi ibang tao, lumabas na siya. Naging ibang tao na siya sa buhay ko. No, ganun din, no, may mga boss na maaari kasing ibang tao na every time na kamit natin siya, we try to adjust in every situation. We just try to confirm yung every decision niya. Yes, sir, tama. Kahit minsan ayaw natin. No? Because nakikibagay lang tayo sa pangyayari, sa flow. Or we just do mix lang tayo sa lamuha tayo sa mga event. No? Because kailangan natin because our audience or our people ay ibang tao or outsider. Pero may mga boss na parang hindi ibang tao na parang kapag napagalitan, nautusan yung isa kong subordinate or nasita ng isang manager isa kong subordinate, teka, nakikisangkot ako, no? Wait lang. Ano ko to tao ko to staff ko to bakit? Ba't mo inuutusan? Ba't mo binibigyan ng trabaho? Kasi, tong boss na to, ang turing niya sa staff niya ay hindi ibang tao. No? Na parang, ano to, laban ng islaban ng lahat, no? Because we are one. No, there is a word unity, pakikiisa, no? So that's why makikita natin na may kaibigan, no? Parang yung halimbawa sa vent body relate ko. Meron kasi talagang titignan natin, no? Madali sabihin na vent body kasi hindi na sila ibang tao. Mabilis magbigay ng trust, no? Kasi alam no na nakakasangkot na siya sa buhay mo. Sangkot na talaga siya sa buhay mo tignan, no? In terms of decisions, experience, sa mga kahit sikretong karanasan, no, ay maaaring sangkot na siya dito at alam niya yung mga nangyari, no. Tsaka palagay na yung loob mo, ibig sabihin, you can easily tell, uy, usap tayo, no, kasi may rapport, may mutual trust na. Compare doon sa ibang tao na parang, paano ko ba sasabihin sa kanya? That's already one indicator. Kung nahihirapan ka magsalita sa isang tao, paano ka mag-approach sa isang tao, baka kasi siya ay ibang tao, siya ay outsider. Pero kapag madaling sabihin, kaya ko yan, daling sabihin yan, kasi itong tao na to, alam mo, hindi na siya ibang tao sa atin. No? Kaya minsan sorry for the word, lagay ko sa medyo mababang perspective, ito very common. May mga tao na parang yung expression, sorry for the word, no, yung parang putya naman, sorry, ganyan. Kaya yung nagmumura, for example, some individual, parang cool lang siya because their expression, because hindi tayo ibang tao. Pero kapag ibang tao, minura ako, pero teka, sino ka ba sa buhay ko? Na may diction because malalaman natin na isang tao na to ay ibang tao at hindi tayo ganun ka-close. So just give the idea of level of proximity, no, para malaman natin kung paano tayo makikitungo sa isang tao. No, as long as alam natin na parang ang ibang tao ito, ibig sabihin at gusto mo mapalapit sa iyo, ibig sabihin we need to give extra effort para maging ibang hindi ibang tao siya sa atin. No, para mas maging close tayo sa isa. Kasi usually kung nasa isang department tayo, for example, colleagues, ganyan, lahat tayo ibang tao, ang hirap magtulungan, ang hirap parang hirap-hirap ka na nakikisama. Every day is a challenging situation, every day is a stressful situation, at magiging tendency in the long run, burn out, tataas attrition rate sa isang department.
Yeah.
Pero kung feeling natin, yung may psychological safety, they can share something, they can easily vent something, they can share positive, negative experiences kasi hindi tayo ibang tao, mas tataas ang employee engagement. Yun. So, I think that's the fast discussion para, kasi syempre, hindi natin iisa-isahin yung words. There's different levels. But I hope na makuha natin yung, na-catch natin yung, ito outsider to sa akin, ibang tao, ito hindi ibang tao. So may mga pero may tendency kasi na from ibang tao papasok sa iyo, halimbawa nililigawan mo dati hindi ibang tao, dati ibang tao ngayon hindi na ibang tao sa iyo, pero may mga tendency din na dati close kayo, may possibility in the future maging ibang tao din siya sa atin.
Yung alam mo yung naging na-realize, I remembered one thing, Henmar, kasi dati 'di ba sabi ko sobrang uncomfortable ako when I have to confront other people, but I had this particular organization that I worked with na sobrang close talaga naming lahat. We ate our lunch together, we really share each other our fears, our worries, our concerns. Parang we were really open, and then it got to that point na I was I had to confront someone about something, and then I was sharing with another colleague in that office na I'm really scared na I have, because I want to give this feedback to this person, but I've always been uncomfortable with giving feedback and I'm so scared. Tapos yung sabi niya sa akin ay, imaginein mo na lang, meron ka ng parang puhunan sa taong yun. Meron ka ng social capital sa kanya na kilala ka na niya, and so he will know na hindi intention mo na saktan siya. Kasi magkakilala na kayo eh. Na-realize ko yun sa hindi ibang tao kami sa office. We were all close. We created that culture. And so that really gave me the confidence na yes, I can give feedback. Yes, I can confront. Because we know each other so well na we know it will never be in our heart to hurt each other. And so nobody would take offense from getting feedback. Parang that's what I realized from what you shared, Henmar.
I happy to hear that to kasi I for example, I encounter meron kasing organization, hindi ko na syempre drop yung name. Parang lagi nila sinasabi, we are family, no? Parang ganyan. In every department, we are family, pero hindi yung nararamdaman kapag iniisa-isa mo yung tao. That's why, madali kasing sabihin, no? Kasi ang idea dito, there is a lot of model, atin sila ng training, we will try to apply within the organization. Madaling sabihin na we are family, pero tanong natin, anong uring pamilya meron tayo? No, baka pamilya nga pero lahat naman tayo ibang tao sa isa't isa. Ay hindi ganoon, no? Because still hindi tayo united. Wala tayong mutual trust or maaring wala tayong buong tiwala sa isa't isa, no? Kaya is very important no na nakikisangkot, no? Involved tayo both sometimes personal life, lalo na gaya sabi 'di ba pag nagla-lunch, no? Kasi for sure pag nagla-lunch tayo hindi lang ganyan. Kaya common Filipino perspective. Minsan yung mga katrabaho mo, inaanak mo yung anak ko, ganyan, ninang-ninong, no? Ay, alam mo ba yung inaanak mo? Ganyan yan, makulit na yan, ganyan, ganyan. Or pag naging binata na, ay naku, yung inaanak mo mayroon ng jowa, no? Ganyan. Because makikita mo dito na talagang patunay na hindi na ibang tao itong mga to, no? Lalo na yung tumatagal sa organization. But sometimes, especially sa ibang young workers na bago sa organizations natin, usually ang tingin nila sa paligid nila ay ibang tao at nanansya talaga sila.
Yeah. Yeah. And to clarify lang, Henmar, because somebody asked privately sa chat box, it's not necessarily a blood thing, no? Kasi sometimes you can treat your family as ibang tao. And sometimes you have friends na hindi ibang tao para sa'yo. So it's not a blood, it's not determined by blood, itong distinctions.
Yes. Actually, this is not about the blood. This is about how we socially interact with the other. Kasi totoo po, no, gaya ng sabi nila, may mga bahay na maliit, no? At sobrang liit pa ng space, lalo na yung work from home, yung mga tension, kasi magkakagalit sila sa loob ng bahay. No, may mga bahay na ang laki pero napaka-close nila sa loob ng bahay. No, because again, no, it is not just because of the blood, no? Because may mga parang for example, based on the experience, may mga bahay na parang sige, sa family nila para mas pasok sa bahay. May mga family na hindi kami buo pero ang saya ng turingan namin. May mga pamilya na buo pero parang hindi pamilya ang turingan. No, baka kasi ibang tao yung treatment, no? Parang we are not one family, hindi ako nakikisangkot, no? That's why very important, halimbawa, anak mo nag-aaral, makisangkot ka sa pag-aaral niya, no? Alam mo na yung perspective, ano yung nangyayari. Kaya sabi ko nga, kaya siguro in transition of DepEd, yung nag-modular sila, may mga parents na nahihirapan mag-adjust because that is one proof na hindi sangkot ang magulang kung paano nag-aaral ang bata.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, hindi nila alam yung facing, hindi nila alam kung gaano kahirap yung pag-aaral nila ngayon compare sa noon. Kasi basically the educational system before at the present are different pattern na siya ngayon.
Yeah. Baka we can then go into the next part, which is how can we manage difficult people in small ways? Siguro we'll start with you, Henmar, because you've just shared your idea of ibang tao and hindi ibang tao. What then do you want for our audience to do so that they can manage difficult people?
One, para maputol or magkaroon tayo papasok no doon sa hindi ibang tao. What I suggest is actually kamustahan, no? Especially in this situation na you are parang ang bahay kasi is actually noon nung before the pandemic is actually our comfort zone. Kung saan tutulog ka na lang kahit magsuot ka ng batas sa damit, ganyan, no, hindi masyado mag-ayos. Pero ngayon na parang lalo na sa mga nag-work from home, yung bahay, yun yung source of stress ko kasi doon na rin ako nagtatrabaho. Magandang tignan na lalo na sa ngayon na tumataas yung mahis, magkamustahan tayo. And you will realize na bukod sa trabaho, ay marami ring ibang iniisip ang empleyado. No, kaya medyo nahihirapan ng i-practice yung tinatawag na work-life balance. Mahirap kasi dati pumapasok tayo, may nagpe-prepare na lang siya atin or bumibili na lang tayo sa fast food. Pero ngayon, ibang bagay, challenging, mamimili ka at yung pinamili mo, lulutuin mo, no, at ihahain mo, no. So it's take time. Considering na you need to focus in the computer for 8 hours, no, that's why very important na magkamustahan tayo, no, para ano yung mga sa possible adjustment, ano yung situation. Kasi if again, kung hindi tayo ibang tao, yari tayo, magkaka-groupmate tayo, kung sa tingin ko medyo maluwag muna ako at the moment para makapag-adjust lang siya. Kasi ko, sige ako na muna gagawa nito. Muna, hindi pang matagalan. Muna. No? Tapos para tulungan ka lang. Pag okay na, sige, bigay ko na sa'yo. No? Kasi may darating sa punto na if we are a team, may team na, for example, family, magkaka-COVID, wag naman sana, pero may ganon. Iba pa rin kasi yung mag-aalaga ka ng may sakit habang nagtatrabaho is another burden. No, na ito kailangan mong attention ng kahit pet magkasakit lang yung pet mo, it's another means na kailangan mo siyang magbigay ka ng effort and time. That's why it's very important na kamustahin natin sila at pansinin yung mga bagay na to, no, kasi maaring mag-reflect to in how you will communicate with the other people in the future. Next is doon papasok din yung idea, yung konsepto ng malasakit. Okay, kasi ang karanasan ko maaring o pagkakaunawa ko sa panahon ngayon, magandang tignan na ang isa sa tinuturo ni COVID-19 pandemic sa atin ay maging responsible tayo para sa sarili natin. No? At hindi tayo masyadong dependent in the others. No, that's one, nakita niyo yung diagram ko kanina, yung sarili na sa gitna. No, pero at least meron pa rin tayong kapwa, no, yung kapwa natin. May hindi ibang tao at ibang tao na tutulong sa atin in the near future. So that's why very important na may malasakit tayo sa ibang tao kasi ano man ang mangyari sa ibang tao at hindi ibang tao, tayo ay magkakaugnay. Yung tipong kahit hindi ibang tao magkasakit, yung ibang tao for example magkasakit, you feel something within you, the emotions will be involved. Kasi again, no, ang sabi ko nga nung during time na we discuss about this, sabi ko, on the HR perspective, dapat hindi lang tayo human resource in the form of department in the organizations. The HR must implement also the idea of human relations. Makataong approach dapat. No, hindi yung because this is the goal, this is the objective, this is the KPI, this is the indicators. Yes, we know the standards, pero given the situation na we are on the COVID-19 pandemic, this is a very abnormal situation na hindi tayo sanay. Parang ano to parang we give drastic change in our lifestyle, we give drastic change in the work settings, no? Kaya kailangan sa panahon ngayon, no, actually yung nagbabasa ko ng some articles, this give the idea of the fifth industrial revolutions na hindi lang tayo dapat focus sa technology. No, kasi nabubuo ng AI, mga systems, no, pero at the end of the day, kahit may systems, minsan tayo bilang tao, naghahanap tayo ng human approach. Gusto natin yung tao na kapag nagsabi tayo ng complaint, ng problema, nakikita natin na yung iba may sympathy, may empathy sa atin yung kausap natin at alam nilang nauunawaan tayo. That's very important factors na para from ibang tao ay maging hindi ibang tao tayo sa kanila.
Thank you so much, Henmar, for sharing.
Thank you, Nikki. How about si Joyce?
What you, Joyce? Ito ang tips ni Joyce.
Yeah, so this is actually related to yung kumustahan ni Henmar kasi ang equivalent kasi ng kumustahan is like making conversation, checking on the other person's wellness, kung kumusta na sila and yung current situation nila. Ito naman is more specific on handling the conflict with that specific difficult person. So it's this way is for those people who usually represses their emotion, and for those who try to shrug it off and hoping it will just pass or maybe mawawala later on. So yeah, my tip would be to address the issue head on. Stop repressing and start expressing your concerns and issues to that specific individual. And then I also have a very important tip on how you would address this issue so that it will be resolved. You need to be kind and polite in expressing yourself to them as much as possible. Kahit na medyo inis ka na or you already have those puot as what Henmar mentioned a while ago. So, or meron ka ng, may mga konting galit na with them, but it's important that when you communicate to that specific individual, you need to be kind to them, because if you adjust to them in an aggressive manner, tendency is magiging aggressive din sila. So, it will create another conflict, right? So be kind as much as possible in handling these difficult people. They are actually tagged as difficult people for a reason. So, so just be a bigger person in this area and just be kind and polite in handling them. Because I think kindness and being polite goes a long way kasi. No matter how difficult that person may be, if you deal them with kindness, I'm pretty sure they would do the same. They would answer to you in the same manner as what manner you have approached to them. And then I think kindness cures a lot of things. So if they have personality issues, if you just be kind to them and address them as soft as possible, I think you can address these issues easily.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's my personal tip for
I really love
everyone.
that third tip especially. And I think RR here said something really wise na sometimes we think na sobrang difficult nila pakisamahan, pero they need more understanding kung saan sila nanggagaling. And that's why your tip, Joyce, on being kind when you approach the person is so critical na kasi ang dami ng chaos on their end, and that's probably why they're becoming a difficult person. So instead of joining the chaos, just ground yourself in that kindness and that respect before you approach them. Be the bigger person if you're able. That would be a really big help in smoothing out those difficult relationships. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So I think this is the part na a lot of people are like looking forward to, because we have so many psychology experts in the room. So I'm sorry, before we go to that, Joyce, can you talk more about this slide?
Yes, I just want to share this quote from Carl Jung, that you can know all the theories and you can master all the techniques, but as you touch a human soul, just be another human soul. So that's actually grounded with kindness. And when you deal with someone else or another person, just be another person, minus the title and your positions in the industry or whatnot.
Yeah, minus the title, your position, your previous background, just be another human person. And even if Henmar and Joyce have shared such great frameworks today, yung psychoanalytic approach, yung psikolohiyang Pilipino, when you approach that difficult person, don't worry kung di mo naaalala lahat ng frameworks. Basta you're just being a human person to another human soul is such a big help already. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Joyce. This is the part now we're going to ask more people for your questions. So it's actually an opportunity. We have the expertise of Henmar and Joyce here right now. So kung gusto niyo sila going vent buddy, you have a particular situation, you want to ask more questions about it, go to menti.com and then ask the questions here right now, and then we will address them. I already have some questions messaged to me privately. Siguro I'll start muna with you, Joy. Someone said, what if, and actually she said, HR ang laging vent buddy ng organization. How can we help HR people to ensure na hindi sila maapektuhan? What are your thoughts on that?
For that one, yeah, since I'm also in the HR department, and yeah, usually, yung mga employees, they go to HR to share some issues in their workplace. On the HR's perspective naman, how we can help ourselves, it's very important to have self-care even at work. Like, you take care of yourself first before you take care of others, of course. So if you think that you're not in the right space right now to talk about issues, you can just ask that specific individual to maybe reschedule, or you can ask them, can we have this later in the afternoon or something like that. Because if you also entertain them and then you're not in the right mindset, possibility is you will just give them something that is not good for them also. So self-care is very important, especially if you are an HR person, because you will handle everyone in the company or in the institution.
Yeah, for all the HR in the room, please take note of that. And Henmar, kanina ang ganda ng sinabi mo on HR shouldn't just be about human resources. It should be, think
Mm.
about human relations. So what can you answer to that, Henmar? Naka-unmute. Ay, okay.
Sorry.
Nakamute.
Okay. Okay. Actually, the idea is, ang HR kasi is parang, for me, it's a heart of the organizations. It's from the worker side. We are HR. We are listening to HR in the worker, the labor side. In the same time, we are HR working with the executive positions. Tayo yung nagbabalance nung wants ng executive, no? Dapat kasi ang HR hindi ka pro management at hindi ka rin basta pro
Oh.
labor. Tayo dapat ay nagbabalance, no? That's, kumbaga, yung sentiment ng management, we need to down it to labor. The sentiments of labor, we need to forward it to the management. At the end of the day, I believe that if the HR is a powerful enough, no, we have a power to balance it, no? At ano ipo-propose natin na magiging win-win solution siya. No, na hindi lumalabas sa pro-management tayo at hindi lumalabas sa pro-labor tayo. Because luckily that the HR, especially in si government or some in the private, there is sometimes guidelines na sinusunod tayo. Meron tayong department orders, may labor codes tayo, may mga specific papers na kailangan sundin, no? But beyond that, sabi nga yung ang paliwanag ni Joyce, maging tao tayo sa kanila, no? Na minsan kasi ito yung guide, ito yung rules, pero parang it's another burden to the people na nahihirapan mag-adjust. So siguro it's better to have means of sometimes of adjustment kung paano tayo makakatulong din sa kanila. Or possible, kasi may mga times na they want to implement, pero tignan natin na magkaiba kasi ang mental demand of job at the physical demand of job. When we say mental demand of job, you can easily think about thoughts, idea, concept, pero tignan natin gaano ba kadali at gaano ba katagal o gaano ba kahirap gawin yung pinapatrabaho. 'Di ba? Parang yes, mukhang maganda yung idea, mukhang feasible, pero nandun pa lang tayo sa thoughts na muka. Pero pag ginagawa na natin, it's better na magkaroon tayo ng assistance. No, baka kasi gusto natin mapabilis pero wala na palang sistema. No, parang hirap, 'di ba? So it's better na magkaroon tayo ng joint helping relation how to conduct certain decisions, certain actions na hindi lang labor ang magdudusa, pagkus pati si HR, pati si executive ay magkakaroon ng proper coordinations para natin i-implement yung mga decisions na yon o yung mga actions na yon. Kasi minsan, sadly, in some organizations, laging kasi yung ibang HR sinasabi nila, utos kasi to eh, ito kasi yung guidelines. Pero dapat we help them to understand what is the purpose of the guidelines, ano yung objective nito. No, baka kasi sadyang hindi lang nila naiintindihan din yung sitwasyon mo or sitwasyon din ng management.
Yeah.
So paunawa natin. So it's not about judgment, but also, gaya sabi ng iba kanina, understanding is necessary. At minsan kailangan natin paunawa sa kanila yon.
I love that. Thanks so much for sharing, Henmar. Ang daming nakaka-relate sa iyo sa chat box. And there are more questions. So I will go then to the next. How do you know or assess if ikaw na yung difficult person? Meron ba kayong clues dito na minsan lagi nating iniisip ibang tao yung difficult, pero minsan hindi natin alam tayo na pala yun. Ano yung mga tips niyo for this? How do you know if ikaw na yung difficult person?
Joyce, may thoughts ka?
Yeah, sige. Yeah, my thoughts on this and how to know or assess yourself if ikaw na yung difficult person. I think one would be if you are so reactive with things. Like if there's an idea or thought, you react immediately instead of trying to understand and responding it. Reacting is actually different from responding actually. When you say reacting, parang inuuna mo yung emotions mo on how you manage and how you deal with this certain circumstance rather than responding. Responding naman is you try to understand the situation first before you deal with it and handle it a better way. So I think that's one, yung parang nauuna yung emotions mo rather than considering and understanding first. And then, what else?
Sarili mo. Pag in that instance, Joyce, parang hindi mo nahawak yung sarili mo. Your emotions dictate everything. That's true. That it's like you're already the difficult person pag ikaw na yung sobrang emotional that you can't even control it. Yeah, I agree.
Yes. And then, merong nag-comment na bossy daw. Yeah, I think I can agree also that you become a difficult person when you don't consider someone else's advice or someone else's ideas. You become the difficult person. Like, yung magiging close-minded ka na, and you don't accept any suggestions or opinions from other people. That's also a sign that you're already the difficult person in the room.
Yeah, agree. How about you, Henmar? Anong thoughts mo on that?
Relate ko siya dun sa concept ni Joyce, yung emotions. Tagalogin ko lang. Okay, sa perspective sa Kalayang Pilipina. Padamdam, damdam, no? Nadadamdam, nararamdaman natin, no, kung tayo na ba mismo ang nagiging difficult or not. Makikita mo doon kapag sila ba ay piniplease ka na nila, baka kasi ikaw na yung difficult, no? Sila na yung mararamdaman mo rin naman kasi kung ikaw yung nagpiplease isang tao, no? Nararamdaman mo yon in the terms of nahihirapan na silang i-approach, mararamdaman mo yun kapag nagsalita ka, tahimik ang sagot sa'yo. No? Maybe kasing they want to say something, pero baka natatakot na sila sa'yo. No? Ganyan. Mm-hmm. No? Kasi mararamdaman mo siya, no? The same as, kasi it's very normal, Filipino tayo. No? Mararamdaman mo siya na there is a positive or negative ambience na in a room. No, kasi actually pagpasok mo sa room, alam mo agad, no, kung you are welcome or not no? Kasi pagpasok mo, hi, nandiyan ka na. Kamusta? How are you? Ganyan. That's good idea. Nararamdaman mo agad na you are not a difficult person. Kasi may nararamdaman nung iba pagpasok ko biglang tatahimik, ayan si boss. Ayos na tayo, ganyan. Okay, nagkakaguluhan sila, pagpasok kay boss, upo na tayo, work, tahimik na ulit. No, mararamdaman natin siya if you are a difficult or ikaw yung person na madaling pakisamahan.
Yeah, true. All the signs are there. Thank you for sharing those. Ay, ito, meron pa tayong mga questions dito. Next question. How to handle those who become too personal with their words? Meron ba kayong tips dyan? Sobrang personalan na yung di ba, kunwari, nagkamali ka with your paper, tapos parang yung pagkatao mo talaga yung ina-attack for a work mistake. Like, it's sobrang personal kung, or baka yung even kwento mo na private, yun yung inaano nila. Kaya ikaw ay masamang nanay. Parang gumaganon sometimes. So, how do you handle those, Henmar and Joyce? What are your tips?
Ako, on my idea is actually, for me, it's a reflective question. No, it is a reflective thoughts or idea. Baka kasi in some way, ikaw mismo ay may unconscious needs, unconscious response na rin naman kasi talaga. No, kasi baka, it's personal, pero check mo kung yung personal ban na yon ay totoo o hindi. No, baka ang kailangan natin dito, it is personal. Kung hindi, no, baka it's the other way around, no, but it's creating issue. Pero kung it's personal, pero kung totoo, baka kailangan mo rin kasing tanggapin at the end mo. Na ikaw mismo kasi may mga bagay na hindi mo kayang tanggapin, kaya iba yung form, ibang anyo yung naipapalabas mo sa ibang tao. No, sometimes, for example, aminado ako in some way na I'm weak on grammar, weak on writings, no? That's why I'm asked for assistance. That's why I ask for help, no? Hindi porket immediate head ka, immediate supervisor ka, ay wala tayong weakness, no? Sometimes better na ma-release natin ano yung kahinaan natin, again, to build helping relationship, no, na ma-appreciate, para it's already the right time na ma-appreciate mo na may strength din yung subordinate mo, may strength din yung staff mo, hindi yung ikaw ikaw na yung lahat ng perfect. Na, o kaya yung idea na, kung ako nga dati, ganito no, never compare yourself to others. No, kasi at the end of the day, we have a unique differences. We are unique at lahat tayo ay magkakaiba. How do you think, first physical, yung lakas, yung energy mo, even paghinga mo, yung finger, magkakaiba. That's why, no, sometimes kung sa tingin niya personal to, no, check natin kung ito ay we need to reflect it. No, kung ito ba ay totoo, kung totoo, we need to accept it. No, kung sa tingin niyo ito ay hindi totoo, baka there will another means by the HR perspective, no, baka meron tayong ibang action na pwedeng gawin kasi baka nagiging workplace bullying na siya, na kailangan i-address na nagiging culture na siya within the organizations kasi they are creating stories na hindi naman totoo. Pero kung totoo to, again, it's reflective, baka kailangan ng acceptance.
How about you, Joyce? Any thoughts on this question?
Yeah, I actually like what Henmar said, na it's actually your take should be you should reflect on what they said. Yeah, that's actually good. You reflect on yourself if yung sinabi niya is correct or tama ba yung accusations, ilagay natin accusations niya about you. If it's not true, my personal tip would be to just ignore it. Kasi hindi naman totoo. And then if you think that it's something you can change and it affects your role and your responsibility in the workplace, then you change it with yourself or you improve in that area.
Yeah.
But I think
go.
I'm sorry. But I think on additional note then, baka yung tinutukoy ng question natin is there are actually people who are mean talaga. Like they tend to say things na parang wala na sa lugar, especially if they're angry or ganun yung may mga tao talaga na ganun yung approach. So, yeah, for that specific kind of person, yung tip ko is just to ignore them and do not absorb what they say. Kasi if you absorb what they say to you, parang nagiging negative energy siya to you and then ikaw lang din yung mahihirapan. So just ignore them as long as it's not true.
Yeah.
Sundan ko yung idea ni Joyce, no? Yes, pwede tama yung sabi ni Joyce, no? Maaring nagiging personal siya kasi yung expression ng isang tao ay parang personal yung means ng pagsasabi niya, no? Pero kasi, for me, parang it's not a good culture within the organizations, no? So
yes,
it's better
true.
sometimes to share it to HR, and the HR na responsible for culture within the organizations, please take note on that. No, kasi baka itong note na to, itong record na to, itong pangyayari na to, ay hindi lang siya once at masusundan siya. Check nyo, pag-check ng HR kung ito ba ay related, kung bakit mataas ang attrition, kasi maraming umaalis sa department na yan. No, baka hindi kasi yung subordinate yung problema, baka immediate superior or baka hindi immediate superior, may certain colleague, no, senior employee or new employee na siya yung dahilan bakit umaalis, no, nawawalan tayo ng mga best employees, no. So this is very important to take note on that, no, para kasi we give proper interventions such coaching, mentoring, baka kailangan natin silang i-train, or baka we need to establish ano ba yung bagong values or culture that we need to implement within our organizations to avoid this to happen again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gusto ko yung
That's actually a good tip. Yeah.
Babalikan ko din yung tip mo, Joyce, kanina na yung be kind, but maybe the other person is the one that's really angry or they're the ones who have that attitude problem. Kaya nga maganda din yung tip ni Henmar na it's good na nado-document ito para people know how to interact
Yes.
properly. Pero I guess kung person na yun is sobrang hindi conscious na sa kanila, they're so mad na hindi na conscious yung, they're not that self-aware anymore. It's nice na you could like reflect back to them na they said something really mean to you and you could say, did you really mean to offend me in that way, or I felt hurt, was that your intention? And I think doon nagiging mas sober yung people sometimes na they realize they really didn't want, like the more conscious side of them, that's not what they wanted. It's just that they were expressing some like hurt na tinago nila for a while. So maybe that's what made them mean. We have a lot more questions. Actually, one more from the chat box, if you can answer this. What if I am the one who wants to confront the person, but when I asked, she doesn't answer directly and doesn't want confrontation. And that's what makes me more uncomfortable. What if the other person doesn't want the confrontation? What should you do? What are your thoughts on that?
Ako, ang thought ko kasi dito, if we are confronting people, maganda magkaroon ka lang ng outline kung ano yung gusto mong i-confront, ano yung gusto mong sabihin. Pero wag mo masyadong planuhin yung gusto mong sabihin, dapat sumagot siya ng ganito. Kasi yung iba nagko-confront, paano pag ito yung sinagot niya? Paano pag hindi ito yung sinagot niya? Paano? May ganun eh. Meron ka parang, pag sinagot niya yung A, ito yung susunod na question. Pag sinagot niya yung question dito, ito yung, may ganun eh. Kaya minsan, we feel frustrated kapag hindi natin nakukuha yung ine-expect natin. Kasi, at the end of the day, kung titignan mo, tayo kasi yung nag-a-assume ng sitwasyon niya, tayo yung nag-a-assume ng sagot niya na hindi natin nakukuha yung actual na pangyayari sa kanya. Kung tayo yung nag-a-approach, no? The concept of approach avoidance, no? We are the one approaching, the other one is avoidant. No, for me it's please give time to them, no, kasi baka nga totoo, we need to respect, baka hindi pa sila ready to share. No, that's very important na hindi pa sila ready to share or hindi sila handa, no, or kung bigyan mo siguro ng time siguro, or kung hindi niya ayaw mo, kung maybe hindi lang time, no, pero yung sabihin natin na sige, kung ayaw mo pang sabihin, okay, but if there's a time na you think you are ready to share with me, kung hindi siya face-to-face, via chat, text, or call, kung saan siya comfortable, pwede mo akong i-approach, no? Pero kung hindi pa din, maybe kasi we are not the right person to discuss with it. No? Baka kailangan natin, baka kasi tayo ay ibang tao sa kanya. Kaya hindi tayo makabuild ng trust or rapport, kaya hindi niya kayang i-share sa atin agad-agad. No? So that's why maybe we can ask the help of the others, yung pwede mag-mediate sa atin. No? Baka, or we are looking for the right place. Or baka kasi ina-approach mo siya sa maling lugar. Diba? Baka kasi hanapan din natin ng tamang oras at tamang lugar, no, kung saan natin siya i-approach. Kasi baka ina-approach mo siya para namang tingin niya ina-hijack mo ako kasi alang na humindi ako, kita-kita naman ng lahat, diba? So parang kahiyaan na lang yung dating. Pero parang hinaras mo siya. Psychologically parang hinaras mo siya. Pero the idea is dapat no, a private space for that. Will I try to proper time? No, kapag hindi, offer yourself na I'm still here, no, willing to listen. Tapos ibigay mo yung other options kung paano kanya ma-reach out kung hindi niya kaya ng face-to-face. Because some individuals comfortable talking with the phone, talking with the screen, no, but they are not comfortable to open it or discuss it face-to-face.
Thanks. Thank you. In the interest of like time, baka we can move on to the next question. Ito ang next question. How to handle if you feel na para wala ka lang sa kanila? How to handle if you feel that na parang wala ka lang sa kanila, yung trust issue is not present? Any thoughts on this, Joyce? Maybe you want to go for this one, if you want. Parang wala ka sa taong ito. You don't matter to this person, and may yung trust, hindi present yung trust.
I think sorry, Henmar.
Go Joyce.
Yeah. If that's the case, actually trust is actually you need to earn trust kasi. So if that specific person parang na feel mo na wala pa siyang trust sa you, you try to build rapport to that person, get to know them better, and then show them that you are a trustworthy person.
Yeah, it takes time to build that trust. Yeah. So
Yeah.
too soon to say potentially. Henmar, did you want to add anything to that?
Kasi ang idea ko kasi dito fast lang, no?
Yeah.
This is your feeling lang naman toward them, di ba? So baka kasi ikaw ang tingin mo sa kanila ay ibang tao. Baka kailangan mo siyang tignan na sila ay hindi ibang tao dapat.
Yeah.
Kasi baka kasi sila may trust sa iyo eh. Kasi how to handle if you feel, no? Parang ako yung nakakaramdam nito, no? So baka hindi kasi yung nararamdaman nila. So baka ikaw lang kasi at your own perspective, no? Checking yourself, no? Kung ikaw ba other way around, may tiwala ka ba sa kanila? No, baka kasi ikaw yung walang tiwala sa kanila eh, kaya yun yung nararamdaman mo sa sarili mo. No, baka kasi may trust sila sa iyo, hindi mo lang ina-accept yung tiwala nilang binibigay sa iyo.
Yeah, interesting flip on that question. How about maybe we have time for 2 more questions. Itong next, what for you are the most effective self-care activities for coping with stress?
Yeah, I'll go first, Henmar, ha?
Go, Joyce.
Yeah, for me, one of the most effective self-care is to be offline, especially now na parang all of our activities are online, like work. And then we reach out to our family and friends online then. And we spend most of our time online, browsing the internet, Facebook, Instagram, and all the social media. So I think it's good for you, yeah, to be offline like around an hour maybe a day just to recharge yourself. Kasi parang ang toxic minsan ng social media and internet. So it's good. And then aside from being offline, also find yourself something that you're interested in, like have a hobby aside from your work. You need to have a hobby. Now in my case, I love hiking, climbing mountains. So that's my self-care activities.
Love that. Ang dami din sumasagot sa chat box. So if for the people looking for self-care, my camping, my yoga,
Yes.
watching K-drama, watching anime. How about for you, Henmar? Ano ang iyong tip for this?
Magmahal. For me, it's magmahal. Mahalin mo yung sarili mo, no?
Yes.
Mahalin mo yung nasa paligid mo, the family. That's the right time, no? Ngayon, work from home, no? Give time, effort to them, magmahal. The community, mahalin mo. Alam ngayon, it's a very challenging situation. Not just only you, your family, but also the community. No, it's very important na matutunan tayong mahalin yung iba at mahalin yung sarili natin.
Thank you for that. One more question, if we can. Who will the HR run to? Potentially, no, mahirap yung question. But any thoughts on this? Parang kung yung HR na yung nahihirapan, what are your tips for the HR people in the room?
Who will the HR run to on the other hand? Depende sa situation, no? Kasi I met an organizations na yung labor union, for example, no, yung labor union for private sector, kakampi nila, hindi nila kaaway. No, pag minsan naguguluhan sila sa perspective ni management, no, okay naman sila sa goal, objective, pero kung paano siya i-enforce, the management, the labor and the HR nahihirapan. So sila mismo working hand on hand, no, hindi sila nag-aaway, no, paano yung ganito, paano yung ganyan, no, they are helping hand on hand, no, that's one, no. So anong gusto kong sabihin, baka may labor group, no, na the officers, no, na hindi dapat natin silang ituring na kakompetensya or kaaway, because in the organizations there's an unions, the HRs, no, there's bosses, no, iisa ang goal ng organization at dapat align to sa vision mission ng organizations at hindi tayo dapat mismo sa loob nagkakakompetensya. So that's one, no. Okay, kung there's no labor unions, that's good idea. But there's no labor unions, for sure, no, merong other committee, no, or at a
Mhm.
random parang pro or an-pro. When you say professional, meron kayong binuong grupo or champion group na tatanggap ng mga concerns din ng HRs. No, yung iba they call it system policies procedures, yung iba ay merong yung audit, they also address that situations, no? Pero that's the best practice on their side, no? Pero meron tayong tinatawag na unprofessional, ibig sabihin yung HR sometimes meron yan mismong friend with the other department.
Mhm.
No, maaring yung accounting head, yung ganyan na o kaya yung sa procurement na pag may ganito, no, the same kayo ng dilemma, the same kayo ng concern. So, ganun pa rin, no? Again, it's a helping relations. Hindi dapat solo si HR alone. No, interrelated tayo with other department within our organization.
Ikaw naman, Joyce, bilang HR, sino ang iyong tinatawag?
Yeah, usually HR din yung magdadamayan. So in my case, we are actually we have lots of members in the team, in the recruitment team. So if we have concerns with like difficult candidates or applicants, we vent out to each other, or we go to each other kasi we can relate on the same circumstances, or they can relate on the same issue then. So yeah, parang HR to HR lang din yung parang magtutulungan.
I think what I want to highlight is one of the best practices that I've seen over the pandemic is bago yung HR mag-release ng initiatives for the whole company, they start with doing an initiative for caring for their own group first. Kasi if
Yes.
we're expected to care for the whole company, sana you also have initiatives where it's for HR muna. You take care of yourselves. I think that's one of the best practices I've seen over some HR departments during the pandemic. At this point, we just wanna share some things, some more things happening in the future. Yeah. So again, thank you so much, Joyce and Henmar, for being with us today, for sharing your time, your wisdom, everything, your expertise, for answering all of those questions that everyone asked here. We're so grateful. And if everyone here, if you're interested in going to the webinar of the last series, we will post the links in the chat box as well. On April 27 naman, especially kung na-interest kayo kay Henmar sa Psikolohiyang Pilipino, please go to our Kaginhawaan webinar on understanding Filipino well-being. This is going to be facilitated by Rick Charles Kayat. And again, we are still searching for positive young leaders of the Philippines. So if you know a young person who has inspired positive leadership, we'd love to hear their story. The applications will be posted as well in the chat box, the link to that. You can apply yourself, or you can nominate a young leader that you know. And we are going to have our fourth run of the Positive Leadership course. We have a lot of participants from DSWD, from a lot of organizations who have found this very critical, especially in leading during a crisis. So if this interests you, again, the link is on the chat box. And thank you so much for being with us today. We always have these initiatives that every month we're going to come up with at least 3 free webinars on something that is very close and relevant to you. So if you could go, if you want to follow us para you get regular updates, our Facebook page is facebook.com/positiveworkplacesph. And yeah, so I understand that some people needed a screenshot of this, so I put this also at the end. Do you have any closing? The evaluation link will also be posted in the chat box. So if you want your certificate, please answer that evaluation form that Trina, our team member, just pasted. And now at this point, Henmar, Joyce, any last words for our audience here today? Yeah, Henmar, maybe first.
Okay. So yeah. So
yeah, anyway.
yeah, before everyone else go, thank you so much. And then yeah, my last tip really, and I would really like to highlight on this, that when handling not only managing difficult people, but managing also people in general, especially to our majority participants right now who are in the government offices. Just be kind always and be professional as much as possible, no matter how difficult or yeah, how difficult the people may be.
How about you, Henmar?
Before I answer the question, I would like to express my gratitude to Positive Workplace and for the opportunity to share this, and also for our participants, no, to give an effort and time, no, in listening to us. How can public servant manage difficult people? Ang common idea ko dito, even you are Psy or non-Psy or in different levels, you are HR or frontliners or whatsoever, the idea is understand them before the judgment. Big word, no? Pang-unawa muna bago panghuhusga, no? Wag natin yung baka kasi ganito, baka kasi ganyan. Try to ask on their lens first, no, bago natin bigyan ng other perspective on our idea or thoughts. Unawain muna natin sila. No, because we have, especially public servants, no, we have clients, internal, external clients, internal, mga co-workers natin, externals, no, yung mga nakaka-receive ng service natin, no, minsan yung client mismo natin, yung ating challenge people, no, yung difficult people, pero kailangan natin silang bigyan ng serbisyo. That's our common task and that's our common job.
Yeah, thank you. And I guess what I want to say, for me naman, I just want to take this moment to thank our public servants, especially for all the work that you do. I've been through so many webinars with public servants. I can see some people wearing masks on the screen, some people who are in the office right now because they had to go to work. So I'm just so grateful for your service. Na I know you put your neck on the line, you put your life on the line, and it all leads to taking care of all the Filipino citizens. So thank you so much for that. I know din na a lot of people these days are the public servants these days na mas dumadami pa yung work more so in during this pandemic. And so again, I'm just really grateful, and I hope na this space was a space for you to take care of yourself and know that you're very important, and we're very grateful to you. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for being here. We hope to see you in the next webinar. Thank you, everyone. And bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much po.